Polk County Emergency Management is responsible for planning and coordinating actions and to prepare, respond, and recover from natural or man-made disasters in Polk County. It manages the County Emergency Operations Center, which is the central coordination facility for all disasters. It also plans and conducts emergency training and serves as a liaison with state and federal emergency agencies. With hurricane season kicking off and going through November, Polk County Emergency Management has some tips to keep you safe this season. And the details are coming up on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Brian Lacey. Joining me in studio is Emergency Management Director Pete McNally. Pete, how you doing?
Very good, sir. How are you?
Doing great. Also a Boston Red Sox fan.
Yes.
Baseball season going?
It's not so great this year, but they're at about 500, so we'll see. It's a long season left to go.
Yeah, baseball season is a lot like hurricane season. It comes in and it goes out right close to the same time, almost.
Kind of the same times. You had a little bit later start and a little bit longer season for hurricanes, but the heartbeat of the season is really about the same time, mid-August to mid-September.
Well, as the calendar tells us, May through November is hurricane season, although we were blessed with the presence of one a little bit early this year.
Happens sometimes. You know, sometimes you get an early storm. Sometimes, like in 2005, you get some very late storms that in that particular year went through to January. But usually the conditions are such that the beginning of June, end of November is when the hurricanes happen to fall.
Pete, let's break down really the mission. You know, a lot of people think Polk County Emergency Management and they think, you know, just hurricanes, but as we said in the intro, there are other things that you guys manage, and with the new facility, there is what I like to call the view from 20,000 feet over there. It's just, it's an incredible facility to really handle any kind of emergency situation within Polk County.
Yeah, we're really an all hazards environment type of an organization. Our comprehensive emergency management plan is based upon all types of hazards, hurricanes being just one of those. I always say when I go out and talk to groups that the thing I'm most concerned about are the severe summer storms we have, not necessarily hurricanes. Hurricanes, we know when they're coming, the seasonal, so forth. We also can really track them as they're coming across the Atlantic or in the Gulf. We know and have an idea when they can happen, but these summer storms can flare up any afternoon, can hit anywhere in the county and cause significant damage in very isolated pockets, so there's nothing you can really plan for with those. Also, we look at hazardous material, man-made type incidents, any large-scale event, large-scale natural and man-made disaster we need to be able to respond to.
And with Polk County being so large and 17 municipalities, talk about the partnerships, not only between the municipalities and the county, but of course between emergency management and the key players, whether it be in the state, whether it be NOAA National Weather Service, or anything else that comes along. Talk about harvesting and maintaining those relationships.
Well, that's what emergency management is all about, really, is those relationships and establishing them and making sure you have them in place prior to an event. There's an old saying that goes really in any kind of first responding agencies. You don't want to meet someone for the first time in a dark, stormy night trading business cards over the hood of a car. You want to have some relationship with those folks beforehand so you know what they can do, they know what you can do, not just personally, but it's a good idea to have a personal relationship, but professionally. What does your professional organization do? What's their role in the specific incident, and how are they going to be able to assist in responding to and recovering from whatever happens? So responsibilities and relationships, I should say, are really the cornerstone of emergency management. Of course, my division, although we are emergency management and responsible for the emergency planning and training for the entire county, is a small organization. So we have to rely upon experts in all those different areas to come in and call on their expertise as we respond and recover from a disaster. We also need to look outside. You mentioned the National Weather Service is a great example of the kind of relationship we have with an outside organization, not just our emergency management organization, but all emergency management organizations around the state deal very, very closely with their National Weather Service brethren. We also work closely with neighbors, not only emergency management, but other response agencies of our neighboring counties, because there is a bleed over. The disasters don't know county jurisdictional boundaries, so there are bleed overs when those things happen. We need to be able to respond and work with them. So we have constant meetings and organizational get-togethers with those different groups, just again, so we know them, they know us, and we know how to reach them should something happen.
I say when you're going to build a house, you have to have the proper tools. The Polk County Board of County Commissioners in the past and currently have invested heavily into the safety of the residents of Polk County. Talk about the Emergency Operations Center, the 900 megahertz radio frequencies, things along the lines that help you communicate and have the tools that you need to keep the residents of the county safe, Pete.
The Emergency Operations Center, which is located out on Winter Lake Road behind the Sheriff's Operational Center, the Sheriff's headquarters, is a key element to our operation. Not only does it serve as a center for any kind of major response and recovery activities should something happen, but it also serves as a training center, a place where we do a lot of exercises, we do a lot of different activities out there. So it's not just something sitting there waiting for an event to happen. We use it constantly, so we're familiar with how it operates, how the different systems work, and how they function interrelated to other systems throughout the county. You mentioned the radio system. That's used on an everyday basis by every responding agency in the county, not just municipal, I should say not just county agencies, but the municipal agencies as well, fire and police, as well as some public works agencies and others who communicate on the same frequencies, who can talk to each other all the time in just typical normal operations, plus during some kind of response to an emergency of that day or a major event. One of the things that was really telling in 2004, and that's something that we all harken back to that season when we were hit by 3 hurricanes, one of the things that really sustained us during that time was that our 800 megahertz radio system stayed up and operating the entire time during all the storms and the aftermath. With that communications link, we were able to, again, coordinate different activities. And that's one thing that the Emergency Operations Center does. There are no windows in the building. One, it's obviously a safety hazard in a high storm environment, but there's nothing to see. We need to have information given to us. We need to have that input coming from the different locations where things are happening, so we can assimilate what's happened, form a strategy, and then reach out to other agencies if we have to. So we're always collecting information in there, and again, as you mentioned, the 800 megahertz radio system is just one way we get that information into the EOC to act upon.
Now, the radio shop and of course the EOC both have incredible reputations, not only in the county, but your guys alone are often called upon in disasters. They've gone to New Orleans, they've gone to New Jersey, they've been part of recovery operations. How does that speak to being prepared and knowing that your staff can be looked upon to help other communities?
Well, it's a great source of peace to me to know that the staff I have is so well trained and they do their job so well. Of course, we always look out to help others if we can. We're certainly looking to the safety and welfare of the folks of Polk County, and that's our primary concern. But when things are well here, but we're needed elsewhere, we will certainly try to offer our expertise in whatever it happens to be. Folks, as you mentioned, have deployed to New York or New Orleans in emergency management roles. Our radio folks have rolled up with a lot of times with the sheriff's operation. They've gone to the Panhandle, they've gone to southern Mississippi after Katrina, they've gone other places to set up radio communications where there is none, and kind of, as you would say in radio parlance, light up that area with radio communication so that people can work and function in those areas, and they do a tremendous job at it.
Well, as we transition into the start of hurricane season, a lot of people, always take the attitude of, it'll never hit, it'll never hit. That's really not the attitude to take. Talk to me a little bit about what you guys like the residents and the visitors of Polk County to be prepared.
Absolutely. There's only so much that my staff can do to get people prepared. That's spread the word. That's put information out for people to gather it, either on our website or in some of the brochures and other paraphernalia that we develop and put out in different places for people to gather. But that's only a start. They have to go out and gather those pieces of equipment that they may need, or whatever foodstuffs, water, etc. that they need to make themselves viable, survivable for the first at least 72 hours post-disaster. That's unfortunately a personal responsibility they have to take upon themselves. There's really not much we can do beyond spreading the word and beating a drum as much as we can to get people to prepare. But beyond that, again, it's up to the folks to take a look at their own situation, what their residence looks like, what their situation is with regard to evacuation. Can they stay where they are safely, or is it best to go? Where are they going to go? How are they going to get there? What kind of things they need if they should go? Do they have a pet? Do they have someone who may need some kind of special medical attention during a disaster? Are they reliant on electricity during a disaster, or an everyday nature, I should say, and then the electricity is gone in a disaster? Do they need a place to go to, like one of our special needs shelters, where there is that electrical power available to them for medical needs? So these are things folks need to look at. I can't help them with that. I can tell them what's available. My staff can tell them what's available, but they need to make that decision and make those plans on their own.
When we talk the shelters, whether it be special needs or things that the county opens, I really don't think the folks at home realize what a broad spectrum of events that you guys try and manage, whether it be the shelters in the high schools for the residents, and then of course our special needs shelters, and like you said, for those that need medical help. Talk a little bit about the job that Diane does.
Well, Diane Hilliard's our special needs coordinator, and she works with other agencies around the county, and both county agencies and partners around the county, to develop relationships so that they can open these 3 special needs shelters and help those folks in the county that have special medical needs or transportation needs, whatever the case is. There's a registration process for this that she works on, and make sure that the word gets out that people need to register if they have these situations. They do call downs, they do work with our transit services and the Lakeland Regional Transit Association to get folks picked up and brought back to their homes pre and post event. There's a lot of other activities that go on to make those special needs shelters work. And again, it's not just in the days leading up to the days immediately after disaster. It's all year as we get these registration forms and process them and make sure people are informed as far as what they need to do. Once they register, this is where we recommend they go and have their plans set to do that.
And of course, like you said, when these shelters open, there's got to be people there to man them. And you guys have an incredible partnership with the Florida Department of Health, and of course with our Polk County Transit Services and Citrus Connection and
our
everything
elderly
else.
services folks as well, and a lot of folks from Human Services who work as our shelter staff. And again, that's really a key part of making sure these shelters are operational, is the staff that folks we have who are dedicated to doing that.
As a theme this year, it's kind of been adopted. Winging it really isn't a plan. Let's just take it there one more time. Talk about the importance of being prepared, Pete.
Well, I say it's a 4-letter word of emergency management: plan. You have to have a plan. You have to take stock. And I always tell people that today is a good day to do it. There's no hurricanes on the horizon. There's no winds blowing. There's no threat. So you're not under the gun to do something. Take a look, assess, take stock in what you have in your home, what your thoughts are going to be as far as what you're going to do. Make sure if you're going to stay at home, and so many people, can stay at home because the way our homes are built and the type of storms are going to get here, they are safe at home. And just make sure take care of the properties and take care of what's in their yard. So it's, again, not that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing we have to really be careful of. So if they take care of the property and clean that up, then pretty much they can stay at home and not worry about things breaking in or crashing through their windows. Take a look at that. Take a look at the supplies you might need to be self-sufficient for that 3 days at least. And then, again, if you can't do that, if you're not safe at home or don't feel safe in your home, then think about evacuating, thinking about going to one of our shelters, think about going to, we would recommend really first go to a friend or family member's home, because that it's going to be a little bit more at ease for you, going to be a little bit more rest if you're in a place where you're more familiar than in a shelter where you're going to be with 500 of your nearest friends who you never met before that event. So it's a little bit easier to do things in the family nature than to go to our shelter. We hesitate to say it, but we recommend our shelters as a shelter of last resort. They're not lifeboat, or no, I should say not cruise ships, they're lifeboats. You know, they're somewhere to go that you're safe from where you came from. They are safe to be at, but again, it's up to you how you want to do it. But that's part of it, is your preparation, is where you're going to go, what are you going to do, what are you going to have with you at that time. And again, make sure your family is all on board and getting planned for that.
And one of the things that I'd like you to touch on just briefly, you mentioned it a little bit ago, but make sure that they have a plan for their pets, because I really thought there was nothing more heartbreaking in 2004 than you know, there was a separate place a lot of the pets came to, and a lot of community partners from all over the United States came down and adopted these pets. Talk about the importance, you know, just because you're getting out of town doesn't mean the pets shouldn't be looked after.
Exactly, and you find two different kinds of pet owners. Some who will abandon their pets, unfortunately. They'll take off and leave them. Others who may stay in a place that's unsafe because they have a pet and there's no place to go. So what we've tried to do is make available to folks with pets, pet shelter. We call them pet shelters, but I really consider them shelters for people with pets, because it's not a drop-off point. You have to stay with your pet, you have to feed that pet and take care of it, but it's a place for them to go with their pets. And we like to think that the person who's living alone somewhere in a remote area who may be unsafe can take their pet to this place, be safe in the shelter with their pet.
All right, Pete. Well, listen, thank you for coming on and sharing all the information with us.
My pleasure, Brian. Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to do it.
Hey, keep in mind that Emergency Management also partners to produce Polk County's annual Hurricane Shelter Map, Hurricane Shopping List, and educational events to help citizens prepare themselves for a potential disaster. For more information on hurricane-related topics and options within Polk County, go to polk-county.net/prepare.